Hi, silver is in such a euphoria that expectation of 1,50,000 per kg is definitely looks very positive. Now, will this continue this particular rally and go to 2 lakhs as whole world is speaking about, or will there be any sort of dip or correction? If so, to what extent that correction can go? Now, just looking at the Indian prices of silver, it is not going to make any sense because most of the silver is imported. So the international prices of silver has a bearing on the Indian silver price. Now come, let's have a look at the silver chart for decades together, which will help us understand what can happen going forward. Now this is a chart of silver CFD or the international prices in dollars. The prices are there on the y-axis and the period is on the x-axis. Now if you see in 1980, silver has touched a price of around $48. Now if you see again in 2011, it touched 49.8, that's almost $50 an ounce of silver. Now we are almost heading to that particular level currently. There has been a quite a good amount of euphoria in the last 1.5, 2 years, from where silver price moved from $22 currently at around $46 per ounce. Now there is another 5 to 7% of movement still left out, or maybe like in the previous cases, it made slightly higher than the previous high. This time it is very near to that previous highs, which is around 48 and 49.50 zones. So we are definitely in a heated zone and a very risky zone. This euphoria can continue in case this particular level crosses and settles down for quite some time. Then that strength can continue further. That is what the charts are indicating. But this is a multi-decadal resistance. If you see the previous reactions, from 48 it came down almost to $4 an ounce. Again in 2011, you see that from $50 it came down to almost $13 an ounce. Now we are almost near to the all-time highs, and this in technical terms is a triple top zone and multi-decadal resistance. There might be a lot of euphoria on silver currently, but we cannot ignore the fact that it has reached a critical mass zone where there is a possibility of reactions. This reaction can be on the upside after it crosses $50, or it can be on the downside. But most of the times history shows it has been on the downside. Now it is for us to make a decision. Will we be interested to go ahead and take a risk at this zone, or wait for clarity and then take a betting or investment on this particular zone? Now, for all those who have a necessity to buy, you have no choice but just go and buy. But those who are looking for investments or trading, one can really be careful and cautious at these zones, because there seems to be some sort of reaction on the downside looking into the history and the technical resistance what we see at $48, $49 an ounce. And this reaction definitely is not going to be a simple reaction on the downside, but it can be a serious reaction over a period of certain time. Now in the short term, it is just in a heated and a hot zone, but one needs to be very cautious, because there looks like to be a reaction on the downside in case if it is not able to cross this 49.50, which is very unlikely in the current scenario, looking into the pattern of the resistance what we are seeing in the international prices of silver. So be careful, be cautious, and this level, if it crosses, it's definitely going to be violent on the upside. But crossing this level is a very, very hard test for it to pass in the first attempt. So one needs to be careful, but if the reaction as expected is going to be on the downside, we need to get a proper entry price to re-enter or make investments in silver, which in my sense should be around 1 lakh to 1 lakh 20,000 per kg or 5-10,000 up and down. That is 90,000 per kg to maybe 1 lakh 20,000 per kg seems to be a reasonable zone for accumulation of silver as per the charts. So just wait a while for your investments. Please do your own study. I'm not a SEBI analyst. I'm not a SEC analyst. Please do your own study. Consult your financial advisor. Take an informed decision so that you make your investments right and make good profits on your investment going forward. Happy investing. Thank you.